Welcome to EO Talks, Eastern Oregon's very own talk show, only here on EOAlive.
Well, I think it's necessary for me to say my name because it's problematic a little bit, not common. So my name is Ibra Taher. It's short for Abraham, the biblical name, but it's within an I instead of an A. Um, I was born in Eugene, Oregon. I'm a husband for 14 years, a father of three wonderful kids. I'm running for the U.S. Senate seat in 2022, which is occupied by Ron Wyden. I'm affiliated with the Republican Party right now. I'm a philosopher. I worked as a philosophy teacher overseas for 4 years, teaching philosophy, entry-level philosophy, critical thinking, logic. But something happened in 2016. So I got really sick. I needed to move to Minnesota to get the care from Mayo Clinic, which is one of the best institutions in the world. I lived there for 2 years, doing nothing, just receiving treatment. I came back to Eugene. I decided to be self-independent, self-reliant. So I started using that money that I had earned before to invest in real estate market. Currently, I flip houses for a living. I never held any public office. I was involved in the Republican, excuse me, I was involved in the Green Party in 2018 to 2020 when I ran for the US Senate there. So my involvement in politics was uh, in the ranks of activism and activist groups. Never really wanted to get involved in politics until I did in 2018. Then I don't think now I can take myself of politics, especially now after March of 2020. As I said, I was born here in Eugene to two immigrant parents. My father still lives in the country here in Tigard. My mom lives overseas, uh, to which made me be back and forth between the Middle East and Oregon. I even went to high school there. I got my bachelor degree and master's degree from Kuwait University. They have free programs, so it was a free option was good for me. I got married when I was 19. I have that idea to build that family structure in early age, a little bit traditional here. So after that, I earned my degrees. I worked as a philosophy teacher. I was really busy in research. This is what I do in what I did my entire life. I still do. Um, my approach to solving our problems, I always thought it should be intellectually. So when we talk about the problems in our politics in our society, usually I think the problem is our academia. They're not spreading the right message. They're not tackling issues that needs to be addressed. Um, Partially, it's still true, but I believe strongly that politics influence everything, including our thoughts and values. So this is my life. I'm not too old to be expected to have too many things in my resume. So this is briefly about myself. Well, Eugene 15 years ago was a community that represent what Oregon is. So it is balanced ideologically. It's not very liberal. It's not very conservative, and people lived happily here in cooperation with each other. There's nothing was contentious about having different views and values here in Eugene. So it is a community college. Uh, Probably 30% of the people here are students, so they come and go all the time, but most of the people in Eugene are all are Oregonians, born and raised. But this has changed, starting from uh, 2008 or 2010. A lot of the people here in Eugene are not from Oregon, let alone from Eugene itself. This has changed the culture here in Oregon. Now we are moving toward more liberals, and the type of liberals that we are really under the attack from as conservatives. So this has changed in Eugene, which is very sad. It, it wasn't like that 15 years ago. Well, there are issues that I focus on because I think we are morally obligated to talk about. But generally, what we hear now, especially after COVID, a lot has changed. People are changing. They're waking to certain ideas and concepts that we weren't able to see before 2020. Right now, liberty and combating authoritarianism is the number one issue, at least for a certain population here in Oregon. The second issue that comes with authoritarianism right now, that seeks to control everything in our lives, is the decentralization, localizing the economy, which was a major issue for me before 2020. I was always an advocate for localizing businesses. I was talking about the social impact of localizing businesses. I was talking about the corruption when we centralize the economy. So these issues are main issues. We need to focus on them because the impact of them can reach to the point that we cannot reverse it. There's no turning point because it's wealth. If we impoverish our societies, I don't see how we can um, recover from that. And we are reaching this point. So this is the second issue. The third issue is the culture now. I think it is very obvious that what we are witnessing right now is a social engineering in a way that cancels every concept that the government, people in authority don't agree with, including our values. So this is a big issue, and a lot of people here are concerned about it. So the medical freedom issue comes with the authoritarianism title, which I mentioned at the beginning. These are issues that are hot topics right now, and those are part of my campaign, essential part actually of my campaign. Well, I'm not good in history and on history. Usually, I viewed history as an experience that happened in the past, that we can learn values from it. But these values can be learned also from other different rational thinking and moral education. So this is why I haven't focused on anything. But I have some pioneers in my mind who were the first settlers here in Oregon, who haven't used any force to spread the message when they came to the Native Americans. One of them was I forgot the name, but I think it's Ezer Fisher. He was one of those people. And there's another pioneer that who came to Oregon with his wife and opened school and was incentivized to use force to conquer and seize lands, but he refused. I'm blanking on his name, but those people are really figures that we should learn from what they did. So I'm a philosopher. When it comes to public policy, I usually separate my personal faith um, uh, from my advocacies. I never really mentioned my faith at all. I believe in God. I'm not Christian. I believe in the Abrahamic religions. So this is my faith in general, a little bit different than what most people conceive about religions. But I have that faith. But again, I separate the issues of faith, personal faith, and the public policy for an obvious reason. Most of the people don't share these values, or particularly, they don't share these beliefs. So when we deal with public policy, we have to separate these things from each other, and this is what I do. Well, we haven't talked yet. We haven't have had any debate. But I think I have two issues that are very separate from the other people in this race. The, the first issue, my anti-war advocacy, non-interventionism. So I advocate for this philosophy, a peace philosophy built on cooperation. I refuse the concept of nation building or exporting democracy by war. I don't think it works. I don't think it's moral, and above all of that, it's not constitutional. It violates the Constitution. This issue is a very dear issue to me because the cost is high of wars. Yeah, and I think my opponents are not on the same page with that. So probably this is a point of criticism for them. The second one, being impartial, makes me really, let's put it that way, being impartial makes my loyalty to issues. I don't have loyalties to parties or people, which is why you can often see me criticize Republicans and Democrats on certain issues. I criticize President Trump and Obama on certain issues. My opponents don't do that. Despite the facts that everything is being recorded by Congress, the votes, the spending, and all of that. But I don't think that we see this impartiality from my opponents. I think this is another point that I will be criticized for. If you ask me, why would they do that? I don't know, because probably they are loyal to people and parties, not issues and the people, the Constitution. So these 2 points that I think of right now would be points of criticism, and I think I answered a little bit about the response that I would have.
Now it's time for our world famous lightning round. So first off, ducks or beavers?
None.
None? No, not a football fan?
But I'm a Eugenian, so I was really like growing up on being a duck fan, but I failed on doing that. Yeah, my clothing is all ducks, but I really don't want to know who's playing or not.
Gotcha. Alrighty, next up, what is your favorite Oregon landmark?
Oh, I love actually Crater Lake. It is stunning. I love Newport, the city. I think it's different and unique. So these two locations are just like really dear to me, and because also I live in Eugene, Dexter Lake, the dam, is where I find comfort and relief. So an escape for me from the city.
Nice. Now, do you have a favorite Oregon beer or food or beverage if you don't personally drink?
Well, I don't go to restaurants,
Oh,
so this is
okay.
an issue to me. So yeah, I don't think I can answer the question.
Alrighty. Do you have a favorite place in Eastern Oregon?
I love Highway 84.
Oh yeah.
It's like a drive there. It's beautiful. To conclude this interview, I would like to say that we live in a very critical time. Our emotions, our loyalties must be filterized right now. We have to think about what's good for our society. And I'm not talking only about my campaign or this race. I'm talking about all of the races. Politicians and people in power lie and deceive. We have to remember that when we vote to them. Usually, when we get attached to a certain candidates, we are willing to look the other way when they do something that we don't agree with, or maybe just give excuses to what they did. There's no time for doing that right now. It is a very critical time, and I think we need to think differently and act differently like right now. I'm present on social media, Facebook, Twitter. My campaign website is a little bit different than the other websites. I go deeply into the issues that I advocate for. I have a philosophy section, which sums my views and philosophy about issues. And I also have a blog to talk about details on certain issues. So I would like you to go to my website, sign up for my newsletter, and also keep an eye on our campaign. And hopefully you can be a volunteer and help me make the change.